We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-T-L-E-S, Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake on Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
I feel like, Joe, this was only appropriate to bust out this week because big news on the Tush Push. But I feel like this would be a solid theme song
There it is, buddy.
coming in. Like, this would be, as we kind of fade this out a little bit. Joe, the Tush Push is back.
It
Back
is.
like it never left.
That's right.
It was in a week where we thought that was inevitably gone. It's back. It's back like it never left. It was super petty. The reasoning was super petty. It was never about the safety of the player in a league that preaches player safety. It was never about that. It was always about the one team that did it better than anybody else. And the fact that you flew Jason Kelce into Minnesota, that you had Jeffrey Lurie on his soapbox from what we hear between a half hour and 40 minutes, ending the conversation, Joe, with comparing his team's design of this play and its success to, well, let's just say it, Joe, it's Saturday morning and we're the only ones here, to a teenage boy's wet dream.
There you go. Oh,
And the only way that teams could figure out how to stop it was figuring out how to eliminate it. So that's why I got the brotherly shove shirt on today.
oh man.
We got to open up. I feel like that might just have to be the open. I mean, nobody's coming at us for copyright infringement because, again, we're the only ones here, Joe.
That's right.
Talk to me about the Tush Push. Talk to me about what, like, this was anything and everything was on point. It was fantastic.
Froze up, Donnie.
You're good, Joe. I got you. So listen, the Tush Push is back. The Eagles social media team was all over it all weekend long. They had all week long. They had the opportunity to be able to get this. Immediately after, you got the Eagles putting out the picture of the Eagles and Packers with the quote "push on." They got the Eagles social media team putting out the 26-minute video compilation of all of the Eagles tush push options that they ran throughout the year. The fact that push on photo was the Eagles and the Eagles and the Packers. And then to go extra petty, later on they have the Eagles. They take that image from the Packers and they put the quote on there. They put the push on quote. And instead of having a click here button to purchase, it says push here. It was just fabulous. It was fabulous to see this team take advantage of exploiting anything and everything that they could to be able to maximize their options for really showing the league how super duper petty this was, because that's all what it was. It was just petty. It was having, your team, our team is your team is taking advantage of a rule, and it's all about player safety. It wasn't. It was never about player safety. It was all about this team taking advantage of the rule book and taking advantage of the opportunities for them to be able to get a play that they loved, that worked. And you heard the quote from Jason Kelsey about you having, if he could come back and just run 80 tush pushes a game, that's what he would come back. That for a guy that was in the middle of that for that player safety, that it was all about that. Like, come on, you got the opportunity. You exploited the Packers. Really feel like the Packers kind of got played a little bit because the Packers don't really have an owner. So you had the Packers being, the kind of scapegoat, and they're going to take the brunt of this. You got teams that are super petty. You really thought you were going to get some support from Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon being former, Nick Sirianni, guys that fell off the Nick Sirianni coaching tree. The only reason they're coaching in the NFL right now is because they have ties to Nick Sirianni and the success from this organization. You're looking at, one of the biggest frauds in all this is the Buffalo Bills, though. The Buffalo Bills, man. You're a team that has the opportunity to be able to run this play, but you can't run it as well. And you saw that in the NFC. You saw that in that AFC playoff run where they're trying to run it against the Chiefs, and they can't run it multiple times. And you're looking at, like, come on. And Sean McDermott is a Philly guy, right? Sean McDermott, you would think that you'd have a little bit thicker skin, that the feelings wouldn't get hurt nearly as much, but like, your team could run it well. And I think I saw, like, out of all of the teams that the Eagles are going to play next year, only one of them voted for it. One of them voted to keep it in. So got a lot of respect for the Lions. Every other team that the Eagles are going to play this year, every other team voted for it, voted to ban it. Come on. Like, that's just that's kind of wonky. That's kind of crazy. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird to think about. You're exploiting a play that you do well. It's kind of the equivalent. Like, I've heard some people make those equivalent, cross sports references of, like, oh well, if the Phillies if they double steal at 92%, well, then we should ban the double steal. Like, if Patrick Mahomes, if he's 92% successful on, Joey's back. Joe,
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
you're good. You're all good. I was talking about, Joe, the Eagles social team was on point. They had all this stuff queued up. They had the push on graphic with the play from the Packers playoff game. They had the 26-minute compilation of
YouTube, for the YouTube video, yeah.
I don't know if you saw, Joe. They had the tush push T-shirt available, but instead of saying, like, click here, it said push here. They took absolutely. So talk to me about this. I was kind of rambling on a little bit about, like, one, the teams that you thought you were going to get support from that you didn't, like the Colts and the Cardinals. The the pettiness of the Buffalo Bills, and them having a quarterback that could run it but don't run it because they don't run it as well. And then 15 out of you had one team that the Eagles are going to play next year in the Lions that voted for it. Talk to me about this whole how that whole scenario played out for you.
Yeah, I mean it's just scroll back whatever it was, a month or 2 months when they were going to originally vote on it, and they knew that it wasn't going to pass then.
Right.
Roger Goodell, who has been so against this topic for ever since we've been doing it. I don't really know why. Some people say it's a football play, some people say it's rugby play, this and that and the third, and it's been in the rule book for they changed the rule. I think it was probably about 20 years ago where you were allowed to do that. So, I mean, it's not new. It's not um, something that the league has never seen before. It's something that this team and this organization has been able to perfect. These players, these offensive linemen, they've done their work, they've done their homework. Nick Sirianni actually started this or variation of it or form of it back when he was with the Colts. So it's the problem is now we're so good at it that it's other teams, other owners, you name it, and now the leader of the league, Roger Goodell, is against it. So they're going to do, and he's going to do whatever he can to try to sway people or get them to flip their perspective of it when
Right.
it's baseless. All of this whole thing against the tush push is completely baseless. There's no proof of any injuries. There's no proof of it being a quote unquote dangerous play. Every play in football is a dangerous play. You know, offensive linemen are hitting defensive players on every
Yeah.
single snap. I got my bell rung. You probably have a concussion or a mild form of it. But to single out one play that every team can run and does run to some extent, to single out one team doesn't make any sense to me. And it's definitely, it's personal at this point. I mean, and it's become more and more personal over time. And this, the other day with this vote, just it took the cake on, it was us. It's Philly versus everybody. Like that's just our motto. That's how we roll, and it's a completely factless. There's no facts. There's no data that says that running that play can and does cause injuries.
Yeah, I think you when you look at it, right? When you look at, I think where they lost momentum is when they started to make those claims that it was about a safety issue. Um, I think, and I heard someone bring this up this week. Is this more about them wanting to get ahead of the fact that they don't want everybody to get good at it because it's not a football play? Um, or it like I think this to me is exactly what happens when you have a team that dissects the playbook, finds a loophole, works to exploit it, gets really good at it, and then it just doesn't look nice. Um, I don't know, Joe. For me, I look at this and I go, really glad that we have an opportunity to kind of to really continue to cement the fact that like this is not a health and safety issue. You're more likely to get injured as a wide receiver, as a tight end, as a running back, going out in the flat, going over the middle, because, and this is Joe, I know it's Saturday morning. I know you had a late night, but I'm going to get a little sciencey on you, Joe. The physics of all of this would tell you that the speed and momentum would lead to more injuries rather than the collision.
Right.
Right? If you think about a car crash, right? If you take two cars that are 50 feet away and you run them at 50 miles an hour into each other, and then you take two cars that are 5 feet away and run them into each other.
Right. Yeah.
The damage is going to get done
Science 101.
where the speed and the force and the momentum is much greater. So it's like, and you can't tell me the fact that, like, you can't tell me that nobody knows this. Like, this got beyond foolish. This was frustrating. And,
Right.
and I look at this and I go, come on. Like, we spent more than enough time trying to figure out how to, if you want to stop the play, right, figure out how to stop the play, right? At least the Chiefs try to do something creative, lining Chris Jones up sideways. You saw teams like Tampa, right? Tampa drafted a kid from Florida that was 420 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, you want to figure out how to stop it. Like, but the fact that you're giving yourself opportunities to be able to, make plays. If you don't like it, stop it. But like that quote from Sirianni earlier on in the middle of the season, right? If everybody could do it, everybody would do it. But everybody can't, because everybody doesn't put the work and the effort and the energy into figuring out how to maximize this. And not for nothing, but nobody else in this league has an offensive line like this team to be able to run it like this team. And they also don't have a quarterback that squats 600 pounds with a running back behind him that squats 600 pounds.
Right.
And then you're also adding A.J. Dillon, who also squats 600
does
pounds.
the same. Right.
So like, sorry, but we do it well.
Yeah, we do it well. When we do it, we've perfected the craft, and nobody else, whether it's personnel, technique, or just, our athletes are better than your athletes. Our players are in better shape, are more physically fit. They are, they're at the top of the league. And, look at Jalen. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but nobody has his, he has it. He has the drive in his legs, and he's got the arm, and he's got the smarts. Like, he knows where to go. He knows exactly where he's going when he hikes the ball. The offensive linemen know exactly which leverage. Like, this team and leverage are second to none, and it's been that way for years. So it's I mean, there's no other way to spin it, or to try to work it. And using your words, it's, they have perfected it. They've mastered it. You have Jeff Stoutland. Like, you have elite people at everywhere you turn, and we are the best at it. And that's just what it is. It's us versus the league. Buffalo runs it. They voted against it. Green Bay runs it. They voted against it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, it's stupid to me that we're even having a conversation and still having to have this vote this week about it. And it's like, oh, and then what are we going to have, another vote next year? Like, maybe they'll, Roger will, or somebody will hurt a finger, or somebody will get an injury on a tush push, and they'll be like, all right, well, look, see, here you go, somebody did get hurt. So no, and then it might leave or go away. But until that point, it's us versus the world, which it always is in Philly. But I can't believe that we're still on this topic and still having to, we're talking over here till we're blue in the face about it. And I mean, it just got shot down again. So it's a non-issue in my mind. It should be a non-topic. It really shouldn't be discussed and voted on anymore because it's already been shot down how many times. Even with whatever Roger Goodell was trying to pull, whatever we could see, and then whatever was happening behind the scenes. So it's I'm kind of I'm over it, but it's great. I love the pandering. I love the trolling. I love all that. I'll take it. I'll take it all day, every day, because it's personal.
Joe, I couldn't have said it any better. It just, I think, Joe, if the conversation is peaches or cherries, I think for the Eagles it's peaches. It's peaches all day long.
That's man.
So, I think, all right. So, two other things. So, the earlier this week on Monday, the Nick Sirianni extension.
Hmm.
Talk to me about like the success that he's had, the opportunities for him to kind of lead this team into the next 5 to 10 years. We don't know what that extension is. We don't know the exact number or the exact years. But I got to imagine he feels well compensated. Talk to me about the importance of keeping a guy in town who's had as much success. I know Rich is not. Rich is still trying to fire him into the sun even after going to 2 Super Bowls. But talk to me about that extension. Talk to me about the importance of keeping him and his staff in place.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been up and down, but if you think about it and you look at his entire body of work and how he is, and he's rah-rah and he's rambunctious and he's a little over the top and says and does shit that's you're just like kind of takes you back and you're like, what is up with this dude? He's cocky, he's
Mm-hmm.
arrogant at times, and it's a look, and it's kind of like you do cringe from time to time, but at the end of the day, Don, all the guy does is win. And
And that's the Joe. That's kind of where for me. It's kind of
yeah,
where I landed.
it's I mean, look at Bill Belichick. I mean, yeah, he won a ton of Super Bowls, but he was a total dick. His players, it was like the regiment and it wasn't fun to them. Like they won, don't get me wrong, and they were a dynasty and they were at the top, but you know these players, it's about having that connection with your coach. It's about your coach having your back and having that
Sure.
passion. I think anybody would prefer to have a teacher, a coach, a friend who's more passionate about something, than very very vanilla, very like non-emotional, very just kind of like going through the motions. Where I think Belichick was like that, just to compare one of the coaches. But Sirianni brings that edge. Sirianni brings that passion, and I mean, if you look at the players, what do the players say about Nick? What have the players always said about Nick? And the body of work. And look at last season when we it was 2-2. We thought that the sky was going to fall. And then they go on this run. It's like his ability to thrive when things are going well, and his ability to thrive when the shit is hitting the fan.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with AJ Brown and Jalen and Graham last year. I mean, that team. I know Big Dom had a big hand in that, but they're able to all take apart a piece of themselves and put this thing together collectively for the greater good. And that could have sunk the team. That particular situation could have sunk the team, but Nick is the kind of guy where he's able to get everybody on the same page, and whatever he says, whatever cliches he has or whatever messaging he has, these guys are all coming out. They all come out and say this stuff in their own, when they talk to the media. AJ Brown, when he did the speech at Ole Miss, that he talked about stuff, lines that Jalen was saying or lines that Nick would say. So they're all locked in with the coach because they've won. They lost that Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but they were a play away from winning the Super Bowl. Look at this guy's body of work. There's, I'll take it all day. I don't care what he's like, but I want a coach. I want a coach that I can relate with, and I want a coach that's got my back.
Joe, I think you've seen his success speaks for itself, right? And his ability to be able to connect with his players is essentially his superpower, right? It's what he does best. And I think you saw right early on, he recognized that remember that first season when he's calling plays and he recognizes that 6-7 games into the season, he's like, nope, I'm out. I'm done here. Shane Steichen, you call plays, right? Realizing that for the betterment of the team, I need to step away. That's not what I do well. And I think you've seen that over time, right? I think they were trying to make decisions coming off of that Super Bowl where they lose both coordinators, and they chose to handle it one way. I think they tried to do stuff mid-season, in trying to make the coaching changes, to make the best decisions for the team, but it didn't go well, and they kind of free fell. And we're sitting here going like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but like, let's figure something out. Like, let's go. What are we doing? And I think it just got into free fall mode, right? But there was a point in time in that season, Joe. That's that game. I can't remember if it was Monday night, Sunday night. That game in Seattle, where Jalen Hurts kind of goes. They go rogue, right? They call a play all on their own. Him to AJ Brown down the sideline doesn't work, and Sirianni takes a sword for them, right? And I think at that point, they kind of recognized, even in the midst of all of that soup, that guy had their back, and he was going to take that regardless of how ridiculous it sounded. Even though it comes out later on, that they kind of did that on their own in the huddle, kind of drew it up in the dirt, that he was going to take the heat for that one and say, yeah, I called it. Yeah, that's our decision. Yeah, that's my quarterback. I did it. Whatever, right? To come back the following offseason and make the decisions, right? To go to get an experienced play caller at Kellen Moore, to get an experienced play caller in Vic Fangio,
Right.
to get those guys in place and say, I'm going to sit here and do what I do well. Like, I can't fault the guy. Joey's 48-20 over 4 seasons. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one. Like you said, he was within a couple plays of winning.
One play, yeah, really,
right? Like
1 or 2 plays, right?
He's winning at a 70% clip, like
yeah, like
and if you factor in the playoffs, his game, I think he's probably got 1, 2, 3, he's probably 53 and something, 53 and 20 something. Like he wins, and for a
that's
franchise
the bottom line,
that right. And when you look at how this roster is constructed, this team's going to be good. For a minute. So we have the opportunity, right? They're coming off a season where they're only going to lose 1 starter on offense.
Right.
And you're replacing the aged veterans who were
young
productive.
Yeah.
With young athletic guys, right? You're replacing a Darius Slay with a Keely Ringo, right? You're replacing a Josh Sweat with a Jahad Campbell. You're going to get Nakobe Dean back healthy, playing next to Zach Bond, right? You're going to bring it like you're replacing Milton Williams with a young, bigger, athletic Ty Robinson, right? You're going to have some competition on the back end at safety. But I like the way that this team is constructed, and I like the fact that you've got a really veteran defensive coordinator who isn't going anywhere. Like, that hire is so underrated because you got a guy who's not going to go anywhere. He's not looking for the next job. He's not trying to get hired as a college head coach. This is it. He's here until he's done. Kind of like Jeff Stoutland, right? Like, Jeff Stoutland isn't trying to go anywhere.
That's
right?
great.
And I can't remember who said this, but we were talking. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, "Well, I wonder what the growth that you might see from Jalen Hurts if he had the coaching consistency that the offensive line room had."
There
Right?
you
He's
go.
going
Right.
on right new coordinator for
Every year since
every year
college,
since
yeah.
probably since high school, Joe.
High school,
Like
yeah, at least Alabama, right?
like you and that's also a product of being part of a winning team. Other teams are going to try to poach your guys. You know,
Mhm.
you saw that even in the Eagles front office, right? They got guys that are getting hired. You know, they got one of their head scouts is uh going to Vegas, right? But they bring back Joe Douglas. Joe
Right.
Douglas, who had success in Baltimore, who kind of floundered in with the Jets, but like
It's the Jets.
some part of me also feels like exactly like it's the Jets. I'm I could not be happier to considering where some of our other teams are.
Right.
I could not be happier to know that we've got a team that's going to be really good for the next 5 to 8 years, 10 years, and you're going to have that consistency there from the quarterback and from the coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's about health. It's about keeping the main thing, and
I love it. I love it.
it's maintaining that winning level. Um, you know, game to game, and when you're in the playoffs, and it's like, but it's like also at the same time it's like turning the page. Like Jalen says, he doesn't want to talk about the Super Bowl anymore. He wants to talk about getting ready for the upcoming season. It's kind of like flipping
Mhm.
that switch, and it's a mindset. You see AJ Brown up at 4:30 in the morning training. You see Jalen up at 4:30, and I mean these guys are putting in the work. They get it. They
Oh yeah.
understand what it takes to get to that level because they've done it. They've gotten there. They've climbed the mountain, and they've put in the training and the preseason games and the regimen and the diet and the mentality. They have it, and Jalen is a big part of that. Nick is a big part of that. It'd be interesting to see who it's going to be on the defense now. Maybe Zach Bond or Reed Blankenship,
Mm-hmm.
some of these other guys. But the fact that they're able to, the fact last year specifically, they were able to draft at all of the positions of need, and those guys came in, and it wasn't too big of a moment for any of them. They
Yep.
came in, they started, they listened, they learned. Look at Miami. Look at Miami with Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to buy in because they didn't want to put in the work. They they're a soft team, and they had a soft mentality. Um, now look what Vic did with rookies, seasoned vets, and guys that maybe were average. He took all of these guys. Look at Zach Bond. Took all these guys to a championship level. He got them all to buy in, and he was able to put these guys in positions where he knew that he was going to be able to maximize their talents.
I couldn't ask for anything more, Joe.
and
It's
and
it's
and
it,
those guys are all here. Those guys, Zach Bond's locked up. The draft. Look at the guys they took this year. Look at the guys they took last year. All these guys are young. They're hungry. They get it. They've bought in. And they're gonna be here for a long. Like you said, they're gonna be here for years. So it's just maintaining that professional and winning mentality, where if things start to go south, you pull together for the greater good. When things are riding high, hey guys, it's the regular season. The regular season doesn't mean shit. So it's about being on the same
it's a
page and playing level-headed ball, not getting too high and getting too low, because they've done it. They've tasted it, and they know how to do it, and they know how to maintain that and carry themselves.
You build a culture. The culture that you built is a culture of winning.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
It's not a super complicated task, right? Like, you have the opportunity to build that culture. Now, Joe, give me your feelings on the in-season Hard Knocks, because then I want to do a little exercise with you before we jump out of here.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool for us as the fans to see, what goes on, and the things that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, on a game-to-game basis, preparation, storylines, and all of that. And specifically when you're looking and talking about us, it's these guys probably don't want to have any part of this shit because it's a distraction, or it can be a distraction. It's these guys are so regimented, they're so locked in on their craft and their day-to-day schedule, their weekly schedule, game days, all of that preparation is, it's personal to them. It's a personal and a team thing, not, media and fans and all that outside crap. But for us as fans, I think it's pretty awesome to delve into that and see that, and visually be a part of and see what goes on and what happens. But as a player, I mean, I would imagine we're gonna play with it and this and that, and have some fun with it. But a guy like Jalen, he's probably gonna be like, "Oh, fuck, who are these people? Why are they here? Like, man, I got a job to do. Get the hell out of my face." So it's
Yeah,
they're doing it because
it wouldn't surprise me if you get like Joe. I'm excited to have Joe Shane back on.
yeah. Aren't we all?
That should be pretty fun.
Oh my god!
No, I think the way that you stated it is perfect, right? It's exciting for us. It's probably annoying for them. You just hope that nothing about them being there comes as a distraction for what ends up happening on the field. We know that they've got a really funky schedule. We know that they've got 7 Sundays where they're not playing. They've got the infrequency of or the consistent infrequency of when they're playing, right? Sometimes you're going to have 5 days off. Sometimes you're going to have 7 days off. Sometimes you're going to have 9 days. Like you've got, there's nothing really consistent about their schedule. And that kind of comes with the territory of being the Super Bowl champion, knowing that, you're in a position where everybody wants to see you. So you kind of tackle that from week to week. I think if there's a team that has the opportunity to be able to handle that, it's probably the squad. So it just kind of is what it is. I like it though. Joe, on the screen, I'm going to try to spotlight this. On the screen, I'm going to take this off. I got all of the opposing quarterbacks that the Eagles are going to play this year.
Yeah.
Can we put them in order? You want to rank them?
Sure. I can't really see it too well, but
here, give me 1 second. All right. So on the list, you've got Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford. And you can go in any certain order. Any of those guys that you see, like, who's the best? Like, can you and I agree that between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, that those are number 1 and 2? Those two guys are going to be the top 2 guys that they're going to play.
Absolutely. I mean, body of work and what they've done at the NFL level for so many years. MVPs, playing at an MVP caliber level, pretty much every season. Absolutely, I think they're you can put them right up there at the top for sure.
So who's number one for you?
I mean, unfortunately, I still think it's Mahomes just because he's won. He's gotten over the top. His playoff record, his regular season record, his ability to extend the play or to get a first down or just come up so incredibly clutch in so many different games and playoff games, Super Bowl, whatever. But for me, it's like it's about winning, and he's got those Super Bowl championships, which it was a team too, but he has just an elite level of seeing the field, executing, and winning in the biggest, the most high pressured situations.
I I I think when you look at again the body of work, Mahomes has done it against Josh Allen when the lights have been the brightest. So
Right.
until Josh Allen has the consistency of winning in those moments against Patrick Mahomes, I feel like he's always going to play second fiddle to him.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the worst quarterback they're going to play?
Mm.
I mean, for me, it's got to be a choice between I'm looking at in that category like Geno Smith, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think Gino might have a slight edge, but I don't know. I mean, they're both really bad teams.
They're both
They're both really bad teams, but I mean, you've got Bowers and you've got Ginty. Those guys are young and dude, it's just crazy talent. But then I mean, you have the Giants. You have neighbors, but that's
that's
and the Giants are
pretty
a
much it.
disaster. They're both. It's like flip a coin for me. Russ is. Oh God, how old is Russ now? Is Russ 40?
He's got to be getting close.
He's got to
But
be. He's got to be right there. Yeah, I mean, but then again, Russ did win. I mean, it was 1,000 years ago, but he had such. If you're looking at total body of work, I mean, I would take Russ just based on what he has done in the past. But he's not anywhere near what
I mean,
he
he Joe. To be fair, he hasn't been that guy
yeah,
in a really long time,
I know,
and he's traveled.
yeah,
He's gone to now a couple of different places. I like if I'm putting the two of them up next to each other, I like the weapons that they have in Vegas more than the weapons that they have in New York.
yeah,
And I think of all these guys, Russell Wilson's probably the guy that's most likely to, kind of lose his job.
crash and burn, right? Yeah, because you have
So,
Jameis Winston and then you have Jackson Dart. I mean, they're gonna wanna,
mhm.
they're gonna be pushing for him to, they're gonna want Dart to be the number 2. Like that's, I mean, you don't draft a guy, trade those picks to draft a guy for him to sit too long.
Right.
He's going to be playing sooner than later. So, but it's the Giants. Like you sign Wilson for 20 plus, then you sign Jameis Winston. So it's like just that in my mind is like, what the fuck are you doing? And then you throw all those picks out and draft and move up and draft your future, your guy. So dude, as far as I'm concerned, both of those guys are sitting ducks, Dable and Schoen. So, but that's the Giants. That's the ownership. It's just a big roller coaster ride, and they aren't able to get off because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So.
I believe it, Joe. I believe it. Where you want to go back up to the top? You want to jump to 3? Who's the next best guy that they're going to play? So you got Mahomes, Allen, and then of the guys that you have left, you've got I'm looking at that next tier of guys is Matthew Stafford, Jaden Daniels.
this Stafford or Daniels. I mean, Daniels is the rising star, but and they did add Debo, so I mean, but it's
But the Rams add Devontae Adams,
they
right? They
did add
replaced
Devontae
Cooper Kupp with
Adams,
Devontae
and
Adams.
you have the potential for a sophomore slump with Jaden Daniels,
Mhm.
and I mean, look, the Rams, man, they were a play away. You could say that they were a play away. If Jalen Carter doesn't sack Stafford, they were going right down the field on us. And on that play, I know you remember this. If he hadn't gotten that sack, there was a guy crossing. I mean, I don't know if he
like
was going
wide
to
open.
score, but he was going to get probably inside the 10 or inside the 5, and we're sweating bullets, for the remaining seconds. But Stafford's won, and he's still playing at an elite level. So for me,
Yeah.
I know all the Jaden Daniels fans and this and that, and he's the hot name now, but it's winning. It's about winning and still playing at an elite level. So I'm going Stafford.
All right, who you got now? So right now, in the guys you have left, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix.
Mm. I mean, Jared Goff has won. He's been a winner. I mean, he's been to a Super Bowl. He hasn't really shown up in those games, but
Right.
he's there. I mean, look, it was that draft. The year of that draft was Wentz and Goff. Everyone was like, "Oh, Wentz is better," and this and that, and watch their careers year to year, and
Yeah.
now Carson Wentz isn't playing football anymore. So, Goff, he can throw the ball. He's accurate. He wins. But I mean, you got to put his name right there. I think, and Dak, he wins regular season games. Dak, and he puts up. It's the sexy, flashy stat line. He's the FanDuel guy, but he gets hurt, and when the lights get bright and the stress and the pressure of those big games and those big moments, look at the Niner game where he runs down the middle of the field and slides and they run out of time. They don't even have a chance for another play. So you go with the guy who's won for years. So for me, I'm probably going to take Goff.
All right. So for me, the next guy off the list is Justin Herbert. Like I like how I like him playing. I think there's an opportunity for him to kind of do a little bit more this year, take that jump. It's the second year with Harbaugh. And then, then the conversation for me is like Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. Like those two guys are like Baker Mayfield's a guy who's, had a decent resurgence. A guy who's, made some big plays. And then Jordan Love is a guy who's kind of come on and a guy who they've had opportunities to be able to look at and say, if we surround him with a decent amount of talent, he's going to put up some numbers. Just for number wise, I feel like Dak Prescott is probably the next guy on the list behind Jordan Love. But even there, I kind of have a debate with him and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Like Bo Nix is a guy that had a really impressive rookie year.
But he's gone so far, right? Already. Yeah.
And then we're kind of left with the two young guys, right? Caleb Williams is a guy who I think could have a bounce back year this year. Being paired with Ben Johnson, having some consistency in the front office, having some consistency in the coaching staff.
Right.
So these two guys kind of at the bottom of the list. But I only put J.J. McCarthy is on the bottom of the list next to Smith, only because he hasn't played. We haven't seen.
You have to see what you're gonna You have to see what you're gonna get, and they're gonna throw him to the wolves in game 1. So
Yeah. So, Joe,
We'll
the
see.
last question on the list is where does
Absolutely.
Hurts fit into this list?
I mean, for what he's done in the years that he's done it, and just being a winner and already being a Super Bowl winner, I don't see why you can't put him in the top 5. You know, 5 to 7.
Okay.
He's won. His record speaks for itself. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He won a Super Bowl. He plays the best up against top talent. I mean, look at his record against Mahomes. Look at his record. I don't think he's lost to any AFC team, or Burrow or Allen or Mahomes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he might not have the flashy stat line. He might, you know, throw an untimely interception. But you know what? He wins and he finds a way to win. And prime example was this last year's Super Bowl where it was like, all right, Jalen, you're gonna win, you guys are gonna have a shot and a legit shot to win the Super Bowl. You're gonna have to do whatever you can with your arm, with your legs. But the checks that he made, the passes that he made, the plays that he made. Don't get me wrong. I mean, our defense was disgustingly good. But if Jalen's
Great.
not good,
Right.
if Jalen has an off game or an average game, that game is a lot closer. So the throws that he made, the throw to Smith, the throw along the sideline to Brown, both of them, even though the one was bogus PI call, he was in. He was locked in. He made the throw and made the right reads all game. You know, except for the pick there, but our defense was so just at such a different level. Like,
Mhm.
it didn't matter, but he was so great in that game, and he's always been so good in big playoff games and big regular season games against top talent. So I don't see why you can't put him between 5 and 7.
Yeah. Here's my suggestion, Joe. We're gonna leave it for today.
Yeah,
Next time we talk to Rich, we'll let Rich kind of. I would love to see kind of his opinion on one, where these guys are, where we kind of landed on these guys, but two,
right.
also where does Hurts kind of slot in.
Absolutely,
So on that note, Joe, it's a beautiful Saturday.
it is, man. I can't
And
wait to get outside and feel the breeze.
get outside, feel the breeze. Go check out our sponsor, Philly Drinkers, Drunk on Broad 15.
Love it, man. Love it.
Get you a little discount.
Appreciate it,
Joe,
Philly drinkers. Nothing but
Philly
love,
Drinkers,
baby.
Joe, I
Nothing
forgot.
but love.
Nothing but love for them, right, Joe? We're gonna do a little unboxing here because Joe, it's a new. We got a new portion of the show where this apparently is really popular, unboxing.
Yep.
So, Joe, I'm gonna pull your item out of the list here, Joe. So, Joe picked out the Philly Drinkers, the mesh back trucker hat with the rope front. So, Joe, this one's gonna be coming your way.
Beautiful, man.
The Philly Drinkers
It
logo on
has
the
a
front.
cup and a straw on it?
It's got a little cup and a straw. Right,
Oh,
the
man, I'm gonna
the
drink
little
that right
frothy
up.
beverage on the side, Joe. I know, Joe, you were excited to get this one on board before you head to vacation. So Joe's got this one coming out.
We'll coordinate.
We'll figure out a way to efficiently get it to Joe and
Absolutely.
get it to Joe before vacation happens. But go check out their stuff, man. They got some great stuff. Joe, I got to show you the blanket that I got. I don't know if this is going to fit on the screen, but I ordered the Philadelphia. I can't even see.
Eagles.
The Eagles. It's
Eagles.
a super comfy blanket, man. It's I'm excited to get that one on deck in the fall. So go check out their stuff, man. They got great stuff.
Like, Al Meltzer from Channel 10. The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Remember him?
Oh my God. And he the guy that had like the sports report?
He did like all the white all his white hair and his old manness, but he was a trip, man. He was funny. The
Oh, that's
Eagles.
fabulous. The Eagles. All right, Joe. On the way out, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Forget the Packers.
Who? 22-10, baby. 22-10.
Hey, Joe, ironic that the vote and the score from the game are identical.
Yeah. Awesome.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.